else.
You touched on something interesting, because the word was that President Obama spoke to everybody at the White House right after the election and said, look, we're going to be as helpful as we possibly can. We want to have a peaceful transition here. And in the past couple of maybe 48 hours, something has clearly changed, because, you know, it was an acerbic comment by Josh Earnest. And as you point out, you know, he said he absolutely knows. It's quite obvious and factual, he said, that Donald Trump knew that the Russians were hacking, and he liked it, in fact. So what changed? And is that message coming from the top? Is this coming from President Obama?
Well, I'm not going to play Josh Earnest here and say what President Obama obviously knew and obviously did hear, Martha, but it is curious. And it also is very timely for a Democratic Party that can't seem to escape its identity crisis. I mean, the idea that 5.5 weeks later you still have serious people talking about how the electors may not put Donald Trump in as president on December 19th. You've got them talking about how it was Jim Comey's fault, or it's some movement's fault that we're not involved with at all. It was Bernie Sanders' fault. How dare he run in those primaries in the first place? Well, how dare you question the fact that he got over 13 million votes and won 22 states against just her? That's not, you know, Vladimir Putin didn't tell Hillary Clinton to ignore Wisconsin and Michigan. So all this idea, this lack of self-awareness now is seeping into an argument about our intelligence, and that we don't appreciate. But, by the way, Martha, there are people, there are Republican senators who say it's very clear that Russia hacked into the emails. Let's set that aside for the moment. The second part of that is what's so bothersome is that people out there are being disingenuous and saying, and therefore they interfered in the election and it hurt Hillary Clinton.
Well, and that
comes
back to reporting and facts. I think the fact that he's hanging it on is that he claims that, you know, we all watched that one statement where Donald Trump said, you know, well, maybe the Russians can find those missing 30,000 emails, which he says was said in sarcasm. Whether Josh Earnest has more than that to back up that statement, I'm not sure. But I keep going back to this interesting moment, because he's made that statement and then he doubled down on it the next day, and you spoke out about it in between. So I would imagine that the president, if he wanted to stop that line of conversation from his press secretary, he would have said so, but he did not, correct?
He did not, Martha, and there's another person who has not, and her name's Hillary Clinton. You know, if you want to shut this down and you actually love the country enough to have this peaceful transition in our great democracy between the Obama administration and the Trump administration, there are a couple people in pretty prominent positions. One's named Obama, one's named Hillary Clinton, since it's people trying to fight over her election still. They could shut this down. I'm told by people who know them that President Bill Clinton thinks that Russian hacking interfered. She blames Jim Comey. Somebody else blames Uma. It's like, guys, what was her message? I'll make the wager right now. What was her message, particularly to the forgotten man and the forgotten woman? It's not a mystery how this election was won or lost. The disappointment for them is that they never entertained the possibility that in a divided country, perhaps the other candidate could actually win. That's what this is about.
I mean, if you're out